Hello, everyone. And I know before you read this, like you read the title, it's like, it's weird. Doesn't make any sense. But there's zero reason not to try it. If you're on this channel, at least give it a whirl. But, yeah. Now let's kill some time, shall we? And begin this story. Deep in the Undernet, there are creatures known as Psybeasts. Creatures of extreme, daunting elemental power. In the networks, they are unmatched by only others of their kind. They are the strongest, most data-inclusive creatures to exist. There are many lords of the Undernet, and all of them push an agenda, a different agenda for each. Some wish to conquer the others and put them under heel, exuding domination. Others wish to claw their way out of the Undernet and take everything from the plight of man, for they destroy their world. Why not destroy the humans? It would make sure that our world stays safe. But underneath even them, where they dare not go to do any war, is the birthing ground of every single one of them. Where they started their humble beginnings. A server known as Yggdrasil. Far underneath and far out of everyone's territory. No one is to go there to start war. That is the place where every solo Navi to darkloid would rise. But this is a story of something very, very old, that the iterations of itself has been broken again and again, wrenched from one another, put back together, only to be destroyed mere moments of its reincarnation. The ghost data. The creatures which die in the net never truly die. Their ghost data falls deep to Yggdrasil. If they make it that far. And the life virus, each iteration of its death, it falls further. Last time I checked, the life virus was created 5 times. 5, 4, maybe 3. Pretty sure it's 5 or 4, however. And in these iterations of itself has fueled the original, eating the ghost data of those versions of itself becoming stronger in something new. Gaining knowledge of the same creatures. One moment. Sorry, I had to go deal with something. But regardless, the life virus was devouring what more iterations of itself was made that were weaker than the original copy. And eating viruses that were on the ground there, such as metals, canadoms, other net-based creatures to devour their data, until he found a dead Navi. A body of one that he has zero idea seeing before. This one, he doesn't know what it is, and I know this is a style change of Mega Man, just fucking use your imagination, damn it, but an electric-based Navi. The ghost data sees that this body will do that, and it might be able to work. Electric bases were a fairly decent strong suit. Once he devoured the body of this electric Navi, changes almost immediately began to rack the body of the life virus. It stays the same looking, but its actions, the way it moves, its thoughts, which are now much more profound. It counts as a Navi now. A darkloid, to be specific. And all of the iterations' memories flood into the mind of what should be known as Nova 6. The same fucking Navi. Repeatedly. Over and over. Destruction. Its termination. Its rage builds endlessly. It realizes that the advanced programs of this Navi had abilities that interest it. It didn't have a blaster, but most of the primary functions were right and ready. But first, instead of doing the usual thing it would do, go find and destroy Mega Man, it waits. It sits and it thinks. Time would pass 2 days. It would stand up knowing its true objective. There was a human with that Navi. A human that it must deal with. After all, a Navi without its chips is worthless. So, it begins its pilgrimage out of Yggdrasil and almost immediately gets a notification. You have left a safe zone. No viruses could attack you in safe zones. But now that you have left the safe zone, you cannot re-enter. And you are easy pickings. The Navi that is our good friend almost sees a couple things that, all honestly, he finds quite impressive. He finds, well, a couple sorties, which, to be quite honest, isn't that bad. But this specific Navi, that data fell all the way to Yggdrasil and was taken and eaten? It had advanced virus control, allowing it to be able to control viruses, up to 5 of them. How fortunate. 5 sorties, so ripe for the taking. He would and begin to almost orchestrate them. Nova 6 is ready. He doesn't know exactly what this will bring, but the fact is that he is an electric junk Navi. He is split, meaning wood Navis would deal more damage to him, as well as cracking Navis. Cracking Navis are the hackers. Wood Navis are basically elemental. Same with cracking. It's just a way to do things. But what can he say? He only has so much he could do. And he doesn't know how deep this place goes, or where a possible exit might be. But once he gets up top, he must find out how long, well, he never really knew how long it was to begin with. Since he was born, died, born again, died, repeating. But he is too angry to even, well, not too angry. It's more along the lines of, he's upset that he got bitched like 5 times. But who wouldn't be? Circumstance is circumstance, and he sure as fuck didn't like his. But regardless of the fact, he will finish what they started. But World 3, he doesn't know if the good doctor is still kicking about. But now that he has free will, he must finish him first and foremost if he still lives. Spawned me in just to die, will he? Let me show you what it takes to kill someone properly and get rid of a problem properly. It is interesting how far you will go to rip and tear at your tormentors. We skip some time. He finally, after God knows how long, after chatting with solo navs that were good enough to their word, finally found his way out of the Undernet. But as he left, he realized something big. A creature seemed to be made out of jello-ish, jello substance, along the lines with some metal in the center. It looks strange, but he knows one thing. He will not allow this creature. Well, he will allow it to live. After all, it's not fucking with him. But he does get a notification that once he leaves and comes back a couple of times, this creature will be noting every time he leaves and enters. Which immediately sets off some alarms for him, but right now he does not give a fuck. He is at the gates and he leaves. After exiting the Undernet, he appears in a park network almost immediately, leaving said network to go to the World Wide Web of information. He starts looking up the good doctor, and he starts looking up that human. And Mega Man specific. He realizes how long it's been. About 70 years? He doesn't know how it's been this long. But regardless of the fact, his targets, the human, and that other motherfucker, is dead. But World 3 activity, on the other hand, is still somehow in progress. How charming. Great. Technically, he could go back to World 3, but they won't fucking accept him without some hip new thing. After all, he has apparently quote-unquote failed so many times in the past, even though it's because of their own fucking incompetence. Enough. No reason. He will have to deal with what remains of them regardless. But as he looks upon the internet, he figures out something called backup data, which is interesting. Doesn't need a human to be used, but it's interesting. Nonetheless, if he uses backup data and stashes that place somewhere where he could be revived, ooh. Beautiful spot of luck that is. He also learned about something called copybots. Strange, but expected. Of course, they would have some sort of window into the human world. Glorified fucking mammals. They may have made us, but they are not close to our potential. We will be eternal. They will die off, which brings up a question that is very important. The human which owned Mega Man has died. But did Mega Man himself be deleted? I must gain this Zenny. Apparently people are buying chips online. Maybe I could get some chips. Might make it a bit more convenient for people. Apparently you don't need a license to buy chips. Fuck it. I'll be a merchant. So what he does is simple. He uses the he lost the sorties in the time skip, but he has found data after 2 of them died, which was chip data. Sword chip data, nothing great. One was a wide sword and one was a long sword battle chip. Nothing amazing, but that's 2 parts of a really fucking good program, Advance. He knows exactly how fucking Life Sword feels, and it fucking hurts. So what Izuku does is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Sorry, not Izuku. Nova 6. Nova is, kinda found, not the best virus for combat, but what he could find. Some metals. They could be useful in creation and aid. That's all he needs. Repairing networks. That's what they're usually meant for, so all he really needs to do is get some new networks up and running. And finding old broken networks aren't that hard. He's able to get into a house network and find, this network hasn't been used in a very long time. It's still connected to the oven, but there is virus activity here. It's mostly metals. Might as well as just take the house. After more poking and prodding, another month would pass, and he would get the house. Most, if not all, of the viruses in it under his control and beck and call. But he does send every once in a while himself with a couple of metals to go virus busting, go find fucking parts. he wants data that and specialized battle chips from the interesting viruses. He was able to make somewhat of a virus breeder pen, so he kind of got that shit on lockdown. So he's selling somewhat rare battle chips and getting a decent amount of zenny coming in. Every day, almost, his stock's running thin. So, eventually, he realizes that he's gonna need more defenses than just some fucking metals. So, he decides, fuck it. I need to use some of this money that's rolling in to buy some proper defenses. Canadums will do just fine. Doesn't need to be tier 2s, just some tier 1s, and a lot of them. So what he does is simple. He buys 6 Canadums for every entrance and exit. 6 tier 1 Canadums, they all deal significant damage once hit a target. He locked down the network for this house. No one is getting in without his say-so. And if they do, they're gonna get in injured and gonna have to deal with all these fucking metals running around. Which, granted, metals aren't the strongest, but some metals, once, how do I say, trained, have an ability. That ability allows them to reflect all incoming damage they would take and destroy whatever comes in contact with them. So, what he does is kind of make one of the data towers into almost like a hive mind protocol. Almost enduring an entire fucking tower for defenses of the network. That was a task in itself, and it almost drained all of his funds, but he was able to get it done. Sadly, it was not the best, but what can you do? Making improvements here, adjustments there. Turns out that one of the most interesting things a creature, a Navi, or a darkloid, he forgets. Pretty sure it's a solo nav, but known as base, is not around anymore. All of his data has been wiped. It's that or base has been in hiding for a very long time. So, that's a possible crony that he lost. He looks for allies at this time. Multiple people from World 3. One of them being Hoverman, a decently powerful magnet type Navi, but he didn't really find him useful, so he kinda left Nova. He only seen him as a possible merchant contact, and that's about it. And how fucking wrong he was. Oh lord. Because the chips that he sold to Magnet Man, they were laced. He put some in those chips. Well, at least in the battle chip data. he decided to track him. And to be honest, it worked like a charm. As soon as those chips were plugged into a PET, he had access. If they were plugged into a network, he knew what network it was and the best way to get in. So, all Nova really did was play merchant for a pretty long time, getting a base settled. He didn't really get many friends. It's kind of sad, but meh. The viruses, specifically the Metools, he figured out a way to upgrade the tower even more, causing the Metools' intelligence to rise. So, he started instructing them in tactics. Specifically, an interesting one, known as, well, reflection tactics. Metools would be stationed near cannodums, and the damage that those cannodums would take, a Metool would jump in the way of the shot, reflecting it, and the cannodum would immediately fire, tripling the damage that the enemy would have taken, and getting shot by a Metool. After that testing and the upgrades to his home-based security, he found a very interesting navy. He found a very old friend that was unexpected. He would never expect this person to even still be alive, to be quite honest, but he's here. Numbers Man. He was not expecting this. After recognition kicks in of his data about him, and who he was, how he was, it wasn't that hard to convince him to come back. Well, not to World 3, but to at least have him in his pocket, as well as one of his friends that he didn't really... Nova was unsure about at first, but he brought some interesting friends. Snake Man. Snake Man was an invaluable asset to the team. Why? Oh, this is why. The big snake. Now, this one right here, the larger one, the only reason it stops here is because it goes off screen. It summons small snakes, and this one can attack as well, but it summons these grass type viruses, which are under its control, which are under Snake Man's control. And Izuku almost not Izuku, my apologies. Nova was ecstatic about more security, the possibility of farming for chips. It's great. Like, it's amazing. The ability to do what he's doing is fucking magnificent. It's beautiful. He loves it. But what's even better, in his personal opinion, what is amazing, what's immaculate, what's beautiful, is simple. Once this happens, once he begins this, it's mighty interesting. because now that Nova has all of these friends, old and new, he begins the scheme. But that scheme is going to have to wait till next episode. I hope all of you have enjoyed the story thus far. Granted, there could have been some storytelling shenanigans in the internet, but I wanted Nova to get a chance. After all, everything has a beginning. I hope all of you have enjoyed. If you like it, tell me in the comments, because it's important that I know what y'all like, because that means I could focus fire shit and I could do other shit. But yeah, I hope all of you have enjoyed. Regardless, I've had fun with this. I'm gonna keep doing it regardless of what you think. But the fact that no one has really done Mega Man what ifs, like, at all, like in any sense of the word, is mind-boggling, because you can do so much shit with, like, Mega Man. And after all, like, telling random stories is literally what ifs. Telling stories that you made up off jump is what you do when you make a what if. Granted, you have certain liberties that you have to take into effect, like story scenes, but as you see, I don't do that shit with Doom because it's an entirely different character and setting. This is going to be the same. I hope you guys enjoy this. I want you to enjoy this so fucking bad, because I love this one. This one's like, I'm probably gonna do 3 of these videos. I'm not even gonna fucking lie to you. Just right now, off rip. But, yeah. I hope all of you enjoyed. Like, comment, sub, all that good shit. Click the notifications. Share this one specifically. There's a reason I'm saying that. Because the fact is that since people don't do Mega Man that much, no one's gonna really know the exact story pretenses. And it's great. For the Mega Man fans, they might like it. Spread it through the community. As always, it's starting to get hot as hell in Chicago, so yeah. Kick off your Sunday shoes and fucking lay down by the pool or go in that bitch. Doesn't matter. Get cozy and enjoy yourselves. Peace.